Good everyone, welcome to this video. Today we have a review on the French starter pack. I still have one more to go after this, so stick around for the Swedish pack next week. Anyway, so to start off with the pack, it's the same as all the other packs. It's $9.99, comes with a week of premium, 120,000 SL, and comes with 2 premium vehicles. The only one that is not in the same boat as that is the US starter pack. But of course, that has its benefits and its flaws. So, to begin off, we'll start off with the plane as per usual. This is the P-40F Lafayette, and I really like this thing. I really wanted a rank 2 French aircraft because I didn't... Well, back when the MB-152 was available, I wasn't able to get it, and from what I've seen, I dodged a bullet. So, I'm not particularly fussed about that. But I saw this thing and thought, well, I love P-40s, they're one of my favourite aircraft of all time. So, why not get a premium version and get this pack at the same time? Might as well. It's a cheap pack and it was half off, so why not? And that turned out to be a very good decision. This plane comes with 650 caliber machine guns, as all P-40s do, except for the very early ones like the H-81 and the P-40C. And it comes with a good amount of bombs as well. 2 100-pound bombs, which drop as a pair, and then the 500-pounder in the center line. It makes itself a very good fighter bomber, and for dealing with enemy aircraft, it does very well because it's quite maneuverable compared to some of what you're going to see. And its firepower is more than enough to put down any plane that you meet, and can even kill some tanks as well. And it can mostly top down most of the German tanks as well from the top. So that's another beneficial part of this aircraft. Now, of course, this plane does have a couple of flaws. Number one, it's rather fragile from my experience. The wings are very susceptible to damage, and the cooling system, as you can tell, it's just a big fat open hole, and even Panzer III machine gun fire will put it out of commission, so just be warned about that. But other than that, it's a very good fighter bomber, and it's easily one of the best parts of this pack. But of course, it's not all sunshine and butterflies, because whilst it is relatively good armor-wise, it's still only good against light machine gun fire, and the majority of SPA around 2.7 are running 20mm autocannon. The only way you're not going to be taking as much damage is if they're using high explosive, but as I mentioned about the wings, not only do you have, well, quite a huge load of spars to hit, because they have 3 spars to hit, but also you've got a major fuel tank here, and you've got your central fuel tanks here. If they hit this fuel tank, you're as good as dead, so just bear that in mind. But for what you get, it's easily one of the better parts of the pack. The only catch is, it doesn't particularly help the tank out that much. But the tank itself, even if you don't use the P-40 alongside it, is very fucking good. There's a big flaw with this tank though, and we're going to cover that in just a moment. Now, of course, I'm not going to cover the tank in too much detail because I am soon to review this thing. I will be doing a review on it, but once that's out, that'll be in the description below. But of course, that's when it comes out. I don't know when it will, because I've got all the other tanks like the British starter pack vehicle, the Crusader, then the Cheehy, then I've got the M14 to do, then this, and then the Stridsvagn for Sweden. So it might take a little bit of time if you're new, well, you're looking for this review now, as of when the video goes out. But I'd say give it a couple of weeks and I'll have the review out. So going over the tank, this is the infamous B1 Ter, or as some people call it, the B1 Terror, because it really is a terror. Now, the only catch with this tank is it's a pure down-tier clubbing machine only. It can do some work in 2.7, 3.0, even 3.3, but the problem is not only does the armor get easier to penetrate, especially against some of the German 75mm, but also the guns on this thing are not amazing, to say the least. Starting off with the main turret up here, we have a 47mm SA-35L32 cannon, which has reasonable penetration of 62mm at 10 meters, And then we come to the cannon down here, which is a 75mm SA-35. This doesn't have a lot of traverse, and you might even use this cannon much. You might just be using the top turret, but it's still a point to raise nonetheless. The penetration on this is actually better than the 47mm by a little bit, at 64mm, and comes with an explosive charge of 90 grams, which is very good. The APC for the 47mm it's okay, but you don't get any explosive filler. But to be fair, that's the same with most of these starter packs anyway. Now, the main flaw with this tank is, as I said, about the up tiers. This thing cannot handle up tiers to save its life. Don't believe what some YouTubers might say. I'm not naming any in particular, but they know who they are. This tank is not as capable in an up tier as you might think. And if you actually look at most of their channels anyway, you'll notice they only show the down tier games. Yeah, whilst I'll probably show a down tier game myself, it's not all sunshine and butterflies, and I'm just telling you the truth here. And remember, if you team this up with the P40, you're making it worse. A lot worse. Because this thing can fight a KV-2. And a KV-2 can literally bounce everything this thing has. Except maybe the turret ring, and even then you'd have to hit it with a 75 to stand a hope in hell. But that's just what really needed to be said about this tank. And to be brutally honest, I don't have problems killing B1 turrets unless I'm playing like a spag or like a tank with a really shit gun. And the best way to deal with one of these things anyway is just bomb it, but still. Given what this pack brings to the table, it is still very good, and the pack itself is very consistent. But as I said, the tank struggles in up tiers. If it had some sort of APCR for the 47mm and maybe an APCR for the 75, it might be a bit better, but I don't think those ever existed for these two guns. So don't expect anything amazing. But like I say, I don't think the tank is bad. I just think people are, well, they don't show the full story, and they don't tell the full story either. And whilst the armor on paper is very good, as you'll notice in some areas, it's completely flat. And even something like a 2-pounder can go through this at some reasonable distance. The side armor is pretty trollish, which can be quite annoying if we take, let's say, for example, we take the Crusader. And I'm using a French Crusader here, but it's the same principle. And let's say 200 meters. As you can tell, the only way you can really penetrate is if you hit the proper flat parts. And you're not guaranteed to get anywhere, as you can tell. Because if you look, it's just eaten up by the radio. If you go for the side of the turret, you can take out the main gun. And the only way you're actually killing the driver from this point of view is if you use this shell and penetrate around about here. But as you can see, it's not even guaranteed. Whilst this thing can be good in a down tier, don't expect much from it in an up tier. But even then, you'll have other tanks in your lineup which will do better than this thing in an up tier anyway. So that's a plus point. So in conclusion, after discussing all of the vehicles and discussing the pack in general and in good detail, and obviously leaving the links in the description below for you to take a look at yourself, do I think the French starter pack is worth your money? Personally, yes. It's what I would say is the second best starter pack. Possibly the first if you was to get down tiers 24/7. But to be brutally honest, I'd probably say the Russian pack is the best pack. Followed by this, and then probably followed by the Swedish, well, yeah, it will be the Swedish pack. But the Swedish pack has quite a big flaw, and that's the plane itself. But still. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's review on the French starter pack. Next week will be the Swedish pack, and obviously I'll review all of the premium tanks from the packs that I haven't done eventually. And I've also got a bunch of other tanks to do as well. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all on the next one.